Hi, this is Scott and welcome back to the channel. Today I wanted to talk about a topic that's near and dear to most of our hearts involving self-hosting, and that really is broadband quality of service. So this is a follow-on to my self-hosted infrastructure video where we discussed the requirements of self-hosting. For the past 6 days, my internet connection's been cycling between connected and disconnected in 1 to 5 minute increments. Self-hosting requires a stable internet connection. Broadband connectivity has reached the status of being declared a utility like electricity, water, or gas since telephone and emergency 911 service are hosted by internet service providers over broadband connections. So internet service providers cannot provide a quality of service that matches what a utility provides. There's no clear statement for service delivery management. ISPs provide only a best effort service based on the resources their management allocates. Why does this happen? Well, internet infrastructure in the U.S. is a patchwork of old and new technologies, and really there's no central oversight. ISP's service areas generally provide them a monopoly to provide service by geographical boundaries, and customers therefore have little or no choice. ISPs know that customers will purchase their product, and so there's really no incentive to improve, and investing in infrastructure does not provide sufficient financial incentive for increased profit. So are there options? Well, most service areas provide phone company-based DSL products and cable TV provider-based data products, and there are also cellular 4G and 5G options. Satellite-based internet's always been expensive and impractical for self-hosting because of its latency, until Starlink came around. Starlink is really not designed for wide-scale adoption in centralized or concentrated population areas. Using a router with the primary ISP and a secondary fallback connection might make sense if you want to stay online during an outage. So what happens if you're offline? Well, all ISPs provide telephone support through an automated voice assistant or an SMS text bot. These mechanisms are designed to suggest simple solutions to novice customers and save on labor for customer support agents. Knowledgeable customers are firewalled from contacting expert ISP customer support agents, again, to save on labor costs. So automated voice assistants and SMS chatbots can route you to a live support agent after you've completed the defined or requisite steps. The initial live support agent will normally be an offshore call center. The offshore call center is staffed by inexpensive level 1 agents who guide customers based on pre-written scripts, and they really don't listen to the customer. So why use offshore support? Well, in the U.S., labor costs are significantly more expensive than most offshore call centers. Sadly, offshore support personnel often have limited technical knowledge, and they're taught to read scripts and calm the customer or handle the customer. Example: we are terribly sorry for your problem you are having. Can I ask you to press the power button on the back of your cable modem and wait 30 seconds and then press it once again? So offshore support rarely results in solutions to all but the most basic problems, and call center personnel are taught to handle the customer and shield limited US-based support staff as much as is possible. So first-line customer support is designed for a single call from the customer, and parallel work by other teams to solve your problem is basically non-existent. Callbacks result in having to explain everything completely over again, and many agents either don't have access to the previous call notes or they don't read them. So I have a real problem with my service, and level 1 support at the call center can't correct it. What happens next? Well, if the call center can't resolve your problem and you still have an outage, then a technician will be dispatched. The technician's trained to check the connection at the phone or the cable pedestal before it enters your property. And the next step is that they're trained to cut the ends off your cable junctions where they enter your house and to replace these cable ends and also replace the ground block. Next, they're trained to come into your house and to connect their meter to where it connects to your modem and router. What happens after that? Okay, so all technicians are cablers, and they understand continuity and signal-to-noise ratio. They're not trained in networking. If the cable has continuity, they believe you have service even if data is spotty or not present. If the continuity test fails, they replace the modem or router because they don't have anything else left that they can do. If the continuity test fails, they run a new wire across your backyard or a new cable into your home. What if that fails? Well, if you still don't have any service, if the technician's a contractor, they'll likely lack the ability to escalate to the lineman or infrastructure support team who does the real work with the data. So if the technician elevates the call, make sure you hear them make the escalation on the phone. The infrastructure team does not communicate with the end customer or the home technician. So they kind of work in isolation. Often you'll receive a text message telling you that your problem has been fixed. But what if your connection is still down? If your service still doesn't come back, you're going to need to make a call back to the automated voice assistant. To avoid getting transferred offshore to a call center once again, use the words cancel service. This will route you to a customer retention team in the U.S., and they can get you to the U.S. technical support team. You will have to explain your problem all over again because it always will appear to them that your call is either closed or they'll only be able to see a call summary and not the details. So, what about self-hosting and ISP outages? Well, consider a secondary ISP, perhaps a cellular modem if you really want to stay online. Own your own modem and router, and even consider having a backup modem and a backup router to test in the event that they have outages so you can establish the problem is not on your side. ISP customer service supervisors are trained to isolate, and they're also trained to protect their management that would have the actual authority to solve your real problem. So if there's an infrastructure problem, it should affect many of your neighbors. So use your cell phone and go out on social media like nextdoor.com to encourage neighbors to report their outages. Because infrastructure problems are only addressed when the ISP is aware that an outage scales over many customers. All right, what about contracts? So ISP contracts are designed to lock you into the provider for the term of the contract, and they often have hefty cancellation fees. So that sounds like a bad thing. But contracts are actually good because they can lock in price and also lock in your level of service. Years ago, I had AT&T on a month-to-month basis without a contract, and they changed my service from 70 megabits to 40 megabits back then, and told me that they never offered 70 megabit service in my area. And since I didn't have a contract, there wasn't anything I could do. And they also increased the price, by the way. If you can't get stable service back and you're being charged a contract termination fee and you want to make a change or cancel your service, contact the Better Business Bureau and inform them that your ISP is in breach of the service contract. So the service contract makes sure that the ISP gets paid, but it also makes sure that you get service. So what needs to change? Well, automated voice assistants should only be used on your first initial service outage call. An ongoing event callback should always route you directly to a person. That doesn't occur yet. That really needs to change. And all ongoing outage call tickets should have one assigned customer manager, and you should have a direct line to that particular person. And once a customer has been determined to be more technical, allow them to talk to a knowledgeable service tech and not a script reader. So what do we need? We need ISPs with a roadmap to improve service speed and support assistance over time. Self-hosters need service packages with options for symmetric service where upload and download speeds match. Data caps, data throttling, and extra charges for additional data need to be removed. We pay enough for the service as it is. We don't need these additional charges. And offshore support and limited knowledge skills don't work when trying to solve a technical problem for the end customer. We need outages to credit an entire month once an outage is over 48 hours. Cutting the bill by the number of days of outages really gives the ISPs no incentive to keep their services online and working. And in summary, internet service providers need a standard of service and real service delivery management. ISPs are utilities, and they need to provide service like a utility. Customers should not be the losers every time an outage occurs. And it's time to onshore support jobs back to the U.S. and train the support staff to talk to the customer and not just handle the customer. Geographical boundaries for AT&T, Verizon, Spectrum, Comcast, and others need to be eliminated, and customers need more choices in purchasing internet products and services that are competitive. Anyway, thank you for listening today, and I hope you'll subscribe and like, and we'll see you next time.